Okay, so let's get started, right? Now, so very quick 1 minute overview. We were talking about some different parts of speech in Arabic language. We said there's only three of them: ismun, fi'lun, and harfun. Okay, ismun covers your noun, pronouns, adjective, and verbs. Fi'l is just normal verbs, and the harf is particles, right? It has your prepositions, the articles, and conjunction. What is conjunction? The wow is a conjunction, and there's other conjunction. Those are used. Those are fall under the harf category. So remember one thing about both ismun and fi'l. They say that the word itself it itself can stand by itself, meaning when you just use the word, even if it's not a complete sentence, you understand what it is. You understand. So if you say, ar rasul, you say uh, Allah, you say all of these things. Even if it's one word, you kind of understand it can stand by itself. But the harf, they cannot. You cannot just throw a harf and then expect people to understand. Like it has no value. Harf only used with the nouns or or ismun or the fi'lun. So this is a one key point, and that's why we don't study harf by itself. We study the ism and fi'l, and the harf will come along with those topics. And we said that in the beginning we will be focusing extensively on the ismun, anything that goes with that, and then we'll come back to the fi'l later. Okay, so we'll start with the noun ism, and the topic about the noun is quite broad, and it might take us some times. It might take us like a couple of months to get a little bit used to or a little bit comfortable with ideas that goes along with the nouns before we can even think about the verbs. Okay, so that's probably how it's going to be. So let's start. The first idea that I want to put in your mind is, and we will be spending a quite lot of time understanding the details of these ideas, is that a noun in Arabic language gives us four information, four attributes. It gives us four different information. So every noun, every ism that we have, I'm interchanging noun and ism because ism covers noun and all other adjective and everything, but it gives us four different types of information. And the number one is gender. So the noun will tell us whether the noun is a masculine or feminine. So that word itself will give us a clear indication that whether it is a masculine or feminine. And then it will give you something called a definiteness, which is simply it will give you whether the noun is definite or indefinite. So just by looking at one word, you should be able to deduct whether the word is, word meaning the noun is masculine or feminine, or is definite or indefinite. And it will also give you about its number, meaning it will tell you whether the noun is singular or plural, or if anything else. Inshallah, we'll talk about the numbers, right? So you see, one word is telling us way too many information. And what else? You think it's done? No, it's not done. It will also tell you its grammar state. Right now I'm using very loose terms. Inshallah, when we talk more details about each one of them, and I'll use a more proper term, one noun. Just so that inshallah, we'll go in details, but just so that we will understand what we're talking about. Let's take one word. What is waladun? Inshallah, this is your new word, boy. Good. When it's a waladun, we get all four information. Number one, of course, we get the gender. It's a masculine. This waladun, trust me, just by looking at it, just staring at it, we know this is indefinite. Inshallah, we'll talk about those things. later. So we get this one. And by waladun, of course, just like in our English language, we understand this is singular. And we also know its grammar state. How do we know its grammatical state? Just by looking at this word, inshallah, we'll go in details. We know that this word will be, inshallah, we'll talk about this thing, but just know we know uh, this word's grammatical state. Okay. So it could be a subject and it can be a predicate, but it definitely cannot be an object. When we look at this word cannot be an object. But if I say this word in English exactly the way it is, it can be an object. I saw the boy. So the boy is an object. Or I can say the boy is going. See, now the boy is subject. But when we look at this word, inshallah, we'll learn that we will know that this word will never be in this, the case of this word is never going to be in object. But anyway, but what I mentioned last time, which is something that you should know, what is the default grammar state at the end? What do we do at the end? Just put a dhamma right now, because inshallah we're going to be coming here a little bit later. I just wanted to put this thought in your mind, because what happens, this concept does become burden for most of the new students, this whole at the ending. And inshallah I will do my best to make things easier for you. So now today's, we don't care about any of these things. Let's see how far we can go. Our job is to understand what do we mean by gender. Okay, so today we'll be tackling the first attributes, and if we have time, inshallah, we'll start with the second one. Gender. In Arabic language, there are only two types of gender: masculine, my spelling guys, and feminine. In short, I might use M and F. Masculine and feminine. I will give you the Arabic term for these. They will come very handy if you can memorize. Please memorize them. Masculine is mudhakkar, mudhakkar, and feminine is mu'annath, mu'annath. Okay. So in Arabic language, we only have two genders, masculine and feminine. So why am I keep on repeating? Because in English, there is third category. Which one is what? Like it. I don't know, is there any proper term or not? The neutral. Yes, that's the word. The neutral. No, there is no neutral in Arabic. Okay, there is no neutral. So inshallah, I'll talk a few things about this concept because sometimes it might be confusing. So now what I'll do is I'll define how do we understand feminine and masculine and feminine Arabic language. The basic idea is simple. In every language, we have the same concept, right? The male person is masculine and female person is feminine. So for example, if we have Muhammadun, it is what? This is Hamza. So yes, this wow is Hamza actually. Okay, Hamza business is, guys, I have a feeling that I'm gonna have, the Hamza is very tricky in Arabic language, especially the way you write and also its usage. So you have, this is you will write this way. Hamza can be written like this, Hamza can be written like this, and Hamza can be also written like this or like that. Okay, many ways to write Hamza. Maybe I will just write it better way. Maybe it's not better. Mu'annath. Okay, good. So Muhammad, this is what it's a, it's some male person's name. So of course it's masculine, mudhakkar. And what about Amina? Huh? That's the wrong dot. Amina is female. So you have what? This is mu'annath. So that is the first understanding. So now, for example, you can have Ab is what? Father. And what is Mother. These are just like any other language. But if I'm giving a word, if you don't know, please write them down, because some of them I might not even, maybe I haven't put this word. I'm not sure if I put the ab and in my vocab list. But if you can, if you don't know it, you can write it down. But I'm pretty sure you probably heard those words before, right? These are very easy to understand, no problem. Uh, I'll give you one more vocabs. Ukht. What is ukhtun? Hmm? Anybody knows? Ukhtun is no. Us is sister. Ukht is sister, and akh. Okay, akhun is brother. So you see, these are simple stuffs. We understand your normal masculine and feminine, but it gets complicated a little bit with Arabic language. For example, in Arabic language, if a word ends in ta marbuta, it is considered. Well, I don't know. I'm writing it. It is considered what? Feminine. So this is the one concept that usually some it takes time for people to understand, because this tamarbuta has, if any word ends in tamarbuta, it will be considered as a feminine word. It might not have anything to do with masculinity and femininity. But if the word has tamarbuta, then in Arabic language, from the grammatical perspective, the word is treated as feminine. Not every language has this concept, but I know the French has this kind of similar things, where I think the Spanish also, I'm not sure, where this kind of concept where an object, simple object, can be masculine or feminine. For example, when in English we say a book, nobody cares whether the book is it's not the concept of the masculine and feminine is not even in our mind. That's when the what brother was saying, the neutral, meaning we don't think about the gender. Book is a book, and we treat as a it, like it's a neutral. You can say neutral or genderless, however you want to say it. In English language we have this concept: a book, a pen, the door, the house. None of this word has anything to do with gender. But guess what did I say? In Arabic language, this is what you have to understand: every noun you have to give, they have to have these four attributes, so you cannot escape it. So that means the noun has to have a gender. Okay, fine. You want gender? I'll give you gender. What are my options? Your options are only two. You have to be, the word has to be either feminine or masculine. Masculine. Now you see, you kind of getting into trouble. Hold on. What do you mean? Amina, I know that's a she. Muhammad is a he. Mother, is a he, she. Father is a he. What do you mean by I want to say a pen? Qalam. Okay, the word pen is qalam. Qalamun. Why am I being forced to think about whether this pen is masculine or feminine? Yes. From grammatical perspective, you will be forced to think about word whether the word qalam is masculine or feminine. It has, okay, inshallah we will talk a lot, but I'm just throwing these ideas, and some of you, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with this, and but whoever is thinking for the new time, for the first time, you have to understand that this is the case. Every word, every noun has to have gender. So for example, remember the word we learned, ayatun. It's ayah, is a sign, is a verse. So do I have to think about whether it's a feminine or masculine? Yes, you have to think about feminine or masculine. Otherwise, guys, you cannot use this word in a sentence. You will have a grammar mistake. Okay. So every word in Arabic language has to be considered. Now, the issue is when we do say whether the pen is masculine or feminine, are we really talking about masculinity and femininity in a real sense? No, of course not. We're only how do we treat the word. That's the only thing. Okay, so keep that in mind here. That's why in Arabic language, this will be called haqiqi, like reality. These are the reality sense, meaning it's the masculine and femininity in reality way. And here I'm going to be describing some says situation when it is grammatically, if that makes any sense. Okay, so in the reality we understand the female person is feminine and male person is masculine. So that's understood by all language. But here in Arabic language, there are words that we treat grammatically whether it is masculine and feminine. So, so the first one I'm giving you is what? If a word ends in ta marbuta, then grammatically we consider the word to be what? Feminine, mu'annath. So as you can see, this word we have to drag all the way to our mu'annas category. So what we have is what? Ayatun is what? Is feminine. Right now, just don't worry too much about, just think about fun way. This is pretty interesting. It's cool. Wow, you have a tamarbuta, it's feminine. So think of like that. Don't think more than more rules, complicated. Nothing is complicated, right? So think from simple perspective. If it has tamarbuta, then we consider the word to be feminine. Does I has anything to do with real masculine feminine? No, it doesn't. From the grammar perspective. So that means the column. Where does the column go? What do you think we're going to do with the column? Because it's a pen, we still have to figure out, is it masculine or feminine? Is it M or F? Hmm? The word column, which means pen. What do you think, guys? Help me out. It would be your masculine. You see? Is hakiki for... No, hakiki means in real sense. It could be masculine or feminine, both. For example, the father is a masculine, is in a real sense, meaning it's a real meaning. Just think about how we understand real sense, what the gender is. Yes, father is in real sense, his gender is masculine. The pen, it's masculine, we're saying masculine, but is it in real sense? No, it's not real sense. We're saying in Arabic grammar, it will treat the word as masculine. So now it's very easy for us. Every word we see, I'm going to give you a little bit more rules, but you kind of already see how interesting it's going to be. You look at a word, noun, and you should be able to see, is it a masculine or is it feminine? You should be able to pick that up. For example, another word I'll give you, kitab. Okay, kitab. What do you think? Now the book in English, we don't care. Who cares whether it's masculine? But where does it go? Is it M or F? It will be masculine. Yes. Now, if I tell you Jannah, what is Jannah? What is Jannah? Anybody know what the Jannah means? Guys, you have to build your vocabs. I'm gonna push you guys. Uh, make sure you know your vocabs. What is Jannah? Jannah has two meanings. One is heaven. Not heaven as a sky. Heaven as real heaven, like paradise, right? And it also can be it also means garden. So we can use this. See, now we get one word, two meanings. It's always bonus, right? Don't sometimes people think, oh, which meaning is too hard. No, it's a bonus. You should be happy. You have one word, you get two meanings. And Quran use this word in both meanings. It uses in the meaning of the garden. It also uses in the meaning of the Jannah, in the heaven. So now the question is it a masculine or is it a feminine? Yes. So I already have an answer. You understand? It is feminine. Because why? Because of this. Oh my goodness, this looks funny face. Because of this tamarbuta. So if we have, now it looks like a robot. You know. Anyway, if it has tamarbuta, then we will be treating this word as feminine. So Jannah goes in this category. You understand? So is there anything we can say the Jannah is? You might think, I'm gonna break your bubbles, because you might think, whoa, Jannah, garden, beautiful trees, see women, subhanallah, women are always in the good. Your dreams will break very soon. So this is then is there any other exception, any other types of rules? Yes, there's more types of rule. Another rule is another rule is very interesting. It's we when we have body parts in pair. When you have body parts in pair, then the Arabs, for whatever reason, they treat that single word as what? As feminine. So for example, if now, since now I finally get it time to, maybe they say drawing is not a good idea. Anyway, so what we have a pair, we have eyes, two eyes, ears. What about, so eyes and ears, we have them in pair. By the way, the concept is whether you, subhanallah, protect us all. It's not that whether you have them too or not. Some might have only one eye. That's not the concept. Concept is whether humans uh, have them in pair or not. Okay, so a lot of people ask me that question. Anyway, and same thing with the hands, right? So now they will be treating them as feminine, feminine. So for example, the words for hand is yad. This will be your vocabs. I think I put this word in today's vocabs. Yadun is hand. So now, since we have two hands, look, it's very weird. What is hand has to do with masculine and feminine? But because we have them in a pair, the Arab decided to use them as feminine, and then we have to use them as a feminine. And you have to understand, guys, the Quran came with the language that Arabs developed. And that means what? Now, if Quran has to address these parts, eyes, and how does the Quran is going to use them? Of course, as a feminine. And you'll see what do I mean by treating them as a feminine, because inshallah, when we start talking about adjective, you will see, there's ways to indicate whether, you'll go, inshallah, we'll understand them. So the point is that these are something that Arabs did for whatever reason, we just have to accept it. Just like, the Quran has to use those exactly the same way the Arab used. Okay. So hand would be falling under uh, feminine, mu'annath. How do you say ice? Ice is ain. This is also another good word, ain. Okay, so this is also your what? Your masculine. Now, what about nose? Hmm? What do you think nose going to be? How do you say nose? Nose anf. That would be masculine. Yes, because we don't have two noses, right? We have one nose. Arab says what? It's like a Simon says can. Arab says it has to be body parts and in pair, so we have to listen to them. And okay, so you see now you already start to see what we mean by gender, why the gender is important. Because guys, we have to decide. Simple as that. Any word, we gotta decide where does it go, masculine or feminine, regardless whether it's true masculine, feminine in terms of human being. For now, just think about human being, or not only human being, even the animals has the gender. Those would be real. Even animals' gender would be a real gender, than hakiki, right? But even for even for objects, we have to decide. And how do we decide, uh, guys? How do we decide? This is you will hear this word a lot. By default, all words are masculine. In Arabic language, it uses this concept way, way often. Everything, they start with an asl, okay? Meaning default. By default, Arabic says all the words are masculine. Every word is mudhakkar. So in order to say, okay, this word is not mudhakkar, you need a proof. You need to have a reason why you're saying it's not mudhakkar. If it was for them, they're probably gonna put all of them as a mudhakkar. But then, so If it has, now we have exception, not exception, you can think of rules. If it has a ta marbuta, then okay, fine, now you have a rule, you have your case. Now you can consider them as feminine. And now you're saying, okay, fine, yet doesn't have ta marbuta. Why are you putting it here? Why you're saying that this is muannas? It doesn't have ta marbuta. You just told me about ta marbuta. Well, there's another rule. If it is body parts in pair, simple. J. So, is there more rules, guys? Is there more rules? There's one more thing that I want to mention, where hold on a second. I want to see if I give you that one or not. Yeah, I think it's important. It's yes, I want to mention those special words because they come in the Quran. Usually in the beginning, like usually people don't study them, but because we're going to Quran, let me tell you something about the Quranic Arabic. It's very strange, um, strange in different ways. Because the Quranic Arabic, when you study Quranic Arabic, your focus is Quran, and Quran is one of the most rich literature you can ever think of. So when we study it, sometimes we have to bring the most complicated subject right in the beginning, and the simple subject comes later, because in order to really get a little bit connected with the Quran in the beginning, you have to understand, because how often the Quran brings those ideas. Okay, so this would be one of this case where when you talk about exception, usually most of the grammar book, they don't bring that thing uh, in the beginning, but we have to learn because these words are used in the Quran extensively, very very much, and you'll see as soon as I start mentioning them. So we have some special words that Arabs, all of them Arabs anyway, Arabs treat as feminine. So there's some special words. And for those words, there is no rule, meaning it's something that you just have to memorize. It's something that if there's no rule. Here you can understand and you can think about, okay, is there a pair? Okay, it's pair, it comes as a pair, then you understand there's some kind of rules. Here you also have some kind of rule, but here there's no rule. They're not connected in any way. It's just that you have to memorize this set of words, and they're not many, but the words are very, very common, and you have to know that Arabs treat them as feminine. If you study in a little bit details, some people have many different interesting things to say why they treat them as a feminine, but maybe this is not the discussion. So what are they? I'll write few of them here, and in the vocab list, I think I mentioned more. One of them is, when you guys were thinking about Jannah being feminine, you were very happy, but Jahannam, subhanallah, Jahannam is also considered feminine. So what is Jahannam? Hmm, what does it mean? Hell. A'udhu billah, right? May Allah protect us from the hellfire. And not only that, Nar, here's another word you have to know. Nar is fire. This is also considered as what is considered as feminine. And then we have Shams. Guys, these are right now in the beginning of this our course. It will be just memorizing word and getting a little bit of ideas. These ideas is very simple, nice, you understand, but things will get, inshallah, if you're feeling bored, there will be a lot of things to have fun with. But right now our main focus is, if you know the words, make sure it's perfect. We have to just get the words, because next few weeks it's going to be just words and words and words. Shams is sun, yes. And guess what? What about Qamar? The word Qamar, Qamarun is moon, which is treated as masculine, which is kind of weird, right? In English, we probably would think the moon is a little bit more femininity, whatever, right? But no, in Arabic, the Qamar is masculine, and Shams, the sun, is feminine. And then There are some interesting ones we have. For example, al-ard. What is al-ard? The earth, the planet. Okay, because you want two words from one, two meanings from one word. Well, this is one of them. Because earth, just by ard, right? It can also mean like land, soil, right? It can also have this kind of meaning. You know, it's your land, soil, things like that. Somebody fall on earth, things like that. Just even in English, I think in English we use this same word for. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I never thought of that. In English also we use the earth with the capital T is of course the planet, and the normal earth is just land. It could be any land. So this earth is used in both ways. Okay, so this is your feminine. And how do we say house in Arabic is bait? And look, it doesn't have tamarbut, and it's definitely not your body parts, and certainly not in pair. So this is your masculine. But there's another word for bait, which is also used in Quran extensively, which is the there is like a house, or yes, like abode. And this word can be used as final destination of the, whether it's Jannah, or Allah also used it as hellfire. For the mushrik, Allah said that their dar, meaning their final destination would be Jahannam. So this word can be used for both good and the bad. So I'm giving a lot of word, guys. You have to memorize them. You want to learn Quran, you know how often these things comes, right? Here's another one, sabil. Sabil also comes in Quran quite often. It is a way. So you say this is my way. The ways, sabil. You can use the sabil as a path as well, but more like way. Could be way in a meaning way, or way as a pathway. Okay. For example, follow this way, or the way of the uh, Quran, way of the Sunnah. That's the sabil. Now, as you look at these words, there is no indications that they are feminine. The main thing you have to know, guys, the main thing, our whole journey with the gender will be based on this concept that the tamarbota. Tamarbota is very special in Arabic language. This tamarbota usually comes to indicate something is feminine. So most of our words, the way we understand is feminine or not, is either we know them by, of course, the reality, mother, sister, all of these things, and the names of female persons, and the second most would be by tamarbuta. Just because I'm giving here a lot more words, don't think these are the most common. No, most common is this one. This is your where we have to understand. Any words that has tamarbuta, we consider as a feminine. And you will see this tamarbuta sometimes we have to add it just to make a word into feminine. Inshallah, we'll talk about more. And these are just some other exceptions, or some things that we have to be aware of. The body part thing, and also some special words. And as I said, we would not be studying. Imagine somebody studying Arabic and he's a first grader. You think he's going to be studying the Nar, the Jahannam? No, he will not. There's no need. This concept will come way later. But because of the Quran, and you know how often these words comes in the Quran, and you'll get confused if you don't understand this concept. Make sense? Now, now I'm going to spend a little bit time. I'm going to spend a little bit time on the Tamarbuta. Okay. I just don't like drawing this one, because as soon as I make a circle, it just it just makes sense. Tamarbuta. We have to understand a little bit about this one. We will talk a lot more about this one. I just want to mention it right now, because I think this topic will be more relevant when we talk about adjectives. But right now, I just want to mention a concept. about the tamarbuta, so it's in your mind. So sometimes a word can be without a word can be without tamarbuta, which may, for example, we say Muslim, Muslimun. What is Muslim? A Muslim. Now, just by looking at this word, and you know all the rules that understand, how do you understand something is masculine or feminine. And Muslim in English, it doesn't tell you whether it's the masculine or feminine. When you say, I can say she's a Muslim or he is a Muslim, we don't know. So just by looking at this Arabic word, can you know is it masculine or feminine? Can you guess? Should be more than guess right now, but what do you think? Masculine. Why? Because none of these case false. You give me a list of words, it's not falling on any of this list of words. You told me about the body parts, well, this is not a body part. And you told me about another thing, you told me about tamar buta, because guys, what is the default? You say everything is masculine, subhanallah. You look at everybody is masculine. It could be, for example, subhanallah, I think it's funny because imagine, I think I made the same joke before. Imagine somebody's walking and you're looking that person from the back. You know, people cut their hairs. Make they do all those crazy things. Your default would be that that person is masculine. Everything is masculine until that person turns around. Okay, now we get some clue. So in Arabic language, that's how it likes to see. It likes to see everything is masculine. So you need to give me a reason to think that it is, or to say that it is not masculine. So here, none of this reason comes. So my initial judgment would be is masculine, and yes, it is masculine because none of the rules falls here. Okay, it doesn't fall in the rule. Now, good. So you're saying this is a masculine. How would we say? How would we address or talk about when we are indeed talking about Muslim female? Because in English, as I said, we don't have to do anything. I can just say he Muslim or she Muslim is a Muslim, right? In Arabic, we have to make this distinction. So I just wanted to bring this tamarbuta concept, is that something we can add or remove just to change the gender as we see fit. This concept will be heavily important when we talk about adjective, but I just wanted to give you this idea just now. So that means if we do want to say this is a Muslim female, then we have to add the tamarbuta. Now I'll explain how do we do that. So yes, so you add tamarbuta. Now what happens here? This one of the rule with adding tamarbuta, inshallah we'll talk a lot more. Right now I'm just softly introducing this concept. When you add tamarbuta, basically what happens, this ending, remember what I said about the ending? I said the ending, what is this ending does? What does it do? Guys, these ideas has to be in your mind all the time, all the time. That's why I repeat. I hope you guys don't get bored. What does this ending, what is this ending telling me? Remember I told you these parts are spelling. The last haraka is not for spelling. Yeah, it's for default, it's for the Arab, it's for the grammar, right? So when we add, another thing you should know, I don't know which way, I'm going to explain both ways and see which one makes more sense to you. So once we add ta marbuta, now is the meme, is this one ending or this one is ending? Which one is the ending? Which is the last letter? Last letter is of course your ta marbuta. So what you have to do is you have to bring your, because it's a grammar, so you have to bring your ending and keep that, your tanwin at the end. So basically you're saying, now the issue is what do I put here? Inshallah, I'm going to explain another way. Maybe that will be more easy. So we bring the tanwin at the end. So we say, we put them. So what do we put in the meme? Very easy. The rule is, know this rule. This is a hardcore rule. Hardcore rule. Haraka before ta marbuta is always, come on, I want to hear, some of you know that already. Always what? Huh? Always what? Fatha. It's always fatha. if you understand these guys, inshallah, your pronunciation will be easier, and it's going to help you in many different ways. Number one, how do we, join, and what do you do? You want me to add tamarbuta? Well, I have a muslimun, the meme has a tanwin. What do I do? What do I do? Well, if we're going to be adding tamarbuta, forget about what meme had. Just put this one aside. Okay, meme had tanwin. Okay, just put that aside and just put a fatha. And now whatever the meme had, boom, bring it back and give it to the tanwin. Okay, inshallah, we'll talk a lot more about these things, but I just wanted to, only thing I wanted to show you, this tamarbuta thing is very flexible, something that we have to add or remove as we see fit. Okay, so right now, for example, now we started with muslimatun. So how does it sound now? It sounds muslimatun. Okay, muslimatun. See, we have a ta marbuta. Ta marbuta, the haraka before ta marbuta, guys. You don't have a choice. You have to put fatha. You don't have a choice. Okay, so now because we knew its grammar state, which was a double dhamma, well, we just put the double dhamma at the end. Now what's going to happen if I had to remove, for example, now let's we're talking about this. Okay, let me give another word. Muslihatun. Muslihatun. As you can see, we have a tamarbuta. By your, like, just know that haraka before that is fata. Simple as that. I don't even have to put anything here, because you're gonna pronounce. You cannot pronounce musli hate. You can't. You have to put whatever the letter comes. We have to put a haraka of fata. So we have musli hatun. Okay, so now because we are starting with the feminine word. So this is, if she is a female. Now how do we say? First of all, let's analyze this word. It's pretty interesting. Let's analyze a few things. We said every noun we have to say we get everything. Like we get a gender. So this is feminine, right? Right now, this is one, we're talking about single person, female believer or righteous person. And this is also indefinite. And this is also, what is the grammar state? Basically, right now, I'm interested in these two things. Grammar state is what? Just think about Dhamma, because we'll have a nice name for them later. Now, we want to say, same story, everything, only thing we want to say that that person is masculine. What do we do, guys? What do we do? Very simple. Think about, let me see if I can do something here. We remove the ta marbuta. Drop the ta, yes. Now, if I drop the ta, look what happens. This tanwin is going to be, hanging somewhere. And we know this tanwin is extremely significant. Why? Because of the grammar. So we just put it in here. Simple as that. So we say muslihun. Muslihun. All of this exercise we'll be doing a lot more, especially when we talk about the adjective, which is coming in a few weeks later. Okay, inshallah. Just only thing I wanted to mention, this ta marbuta is super important, and everything else is kind of, you have to know, but the ta marbuta we have to understand how to change, how does it work, how do we conjugate. Things will be coming in, inshallah. Okay, let me see if I can read something from here. Okay, I didn't get to do PDF today, so I'm just showing you my Microsoft Word document. So the main concept that I want to get across today is this idea that a noun, just think about right now, a noun will give us some information. Just word itself. You look at a word, you have to know that this word is giving us 4 different informations. One of them, by looking at noun, we would know, yes, I'm going to give you inshallah more example. We would know whether this noun is masculine or feminine. We would know its gender. We would know whether it's definite or indefinite. Okay, and we would know either singular or plural and all these other things, and we'll know something about its grammar state. And don't worry too much about the grammar state right now, guys. Our whole Arabic journey will be dedicated to this concept of grammar state. So if you don't understand, welcome to the class. If you understand, maybe you should come to my other class, because in this class our job is to understand this one. All right, so don't worry too much about this thing. So first we are trying to understand about the gender. So what did we say? So basically here what I'm writing, what they mean. Gender indicates whether noun is masculine, feminine, and the definite indicates whether it's definite or indefinite, and the numbers and all these other things. Okay, we'll study. So right now we're focusing on the gender. And what did we say? See, it's a grammatically every word in Arabic language can be categorized into masculine and feminine. And there are two types of feminine. One is what? When it refers to a feminine person, right? Meaning this is your hakiki, this is actual female person, right? See, we're not talking about masculine here. Why? Because masculine is default. We want to know everything is masculine, so that means we don't study the default. For example, if Allah is going to say, what is halal or haram, everything is halal. Allah will only tell you what is haram. So that means we have to only study what is haram. We don't have to think about what is halal, because it's just too many of them. So everything is halal. So likewise, we don't study what is masculine. We say everything is masculine. So now we have to study, okay, fine, everything is masculine. So what are the feminine? Okay, now we're talking. Okay, so now it's going to define what we consider as feminine in Arabic language. Number one is everybody understand is when we're referring to, maybe I would say animal as well. Inshallah, this is my writing, subhanallah, just notes. And another concept is something that is grammatically that we consider. And I already told you that when we have tamarbuta, right? And body parts and some special words, inshallah, I'm going to give you here, that we treat them as a feminine. And here's one interesting concept that I wanted to, inshallah, talk about. Not every word that ends in tamarbuta is feminine. Okay, in Arabic language, guys, I always warn you, this is my first warning in this class, then Arabic language has often, more than we would hope, it has exception. So most of the rules has exception. The one that doesn't have exception, you will find me super, super excited. I'm making it big deal. And then you will find me like, you'll probably be like, why he's so excited? For example, when I said, when you have a tamarbuta, the letter before tamarbuta will have what? Fatha. There's no exception. So you can solve it and, be happy with this. But most other things, there's an exception. So remember what we said, that the tamarbuta defines it's a feminine, it indicates it's feminine, but there is an exception. Inshallah, we'll talk about them, a few of them now. One of them I give you here is khalifa. The word khalifa, it means a successor, but it is not a, it is, see, it has a tamarbuta, but this is not your feminine word. Inshallah, I'll give you more example to make this thing clear. These are very, 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 very fundamental in Arabic language. This gender issue is extremely fundamental. So the first one here, I'm giving you some charts. We have ukht and and they're feminine. Why? Because these are female person. Okay, so this is first category. Then we have Amina and Maryam. Again, these are also refers to the female, so this obviously that's why. But as you can see here, the Amina has tamarbuta, so we alhamdulillah. Oh, I didn't even know that I can write in subhanallah in Microsoft Word. That's pretty cool. So Amina has ta marbuta. So you're like, you get a bonus, right? Number one, Amina is name of a female person. You know that. Uh, but at the same time, it also has ta marbuta. What is the question? Is treated female grammatically? Is it treated female grammatically? Which one you're talking about, sister? Which part? No, it's not, because good question. So for example, right now a lot of people will not understand what we're talking about, because we have to use them in a sentence to understand what does it mean to treat it as but here, no, this khalifa is masculine. Of course khalifa is masculine. Umar radiallahu anhu is a masculine, so we say they're khalifa. So we cannot say she is a khalifa. We cannot say it, because it's a, you understand. So this is one good example, and also in the Quran use this word. So here, when we look at the Amina, it's yes. When we look at the Amina, so we get two ways we know this is feminine. One, the name Amina is for female name, and also we have tamarbuta. But the reason why I'm putting Maryam, as you can see, it doesn't have tamarbuta. It doesn't matter, Because Maryam is female name. Guys, believe it or not, if Muhammad is what? Muhammad is masculine name, but if somebody for whatever reason names that person, that female person Muhammad, then we still have to treat that person as a female. So these are reality. It doesn't matter what the state of the word is doesn't matter. We don't care about how the word looks or everything, because the person is female or the person is masculine. We really don't care about tamarbuta, na tamarbuta business. Okay, because that's the really that you understand. Make sure you understand this concept, because when it comes to actual hakiki, okay, actual person, when we look at the person or the animal, it's masculine or feminine, none of the rule applies. These are your original things. Now we have ayatun and jamilatun. uh, so ayah we already talked about is a verse, and you see we have a tamarbuta. Let's just say we don't know even what jamila means. Of course, it's beautiful, I'm going to explain, but it has a tamarbuta, it ends in tamarbuta, we consider as what? Female. So Jamila means beautiful. Since this idea is right floating, before I go here, this is since it's here. Let me explain what we mean by treating the word as a feminine or masculine. So this Jamila is beautiful, right? And it has a tamarbuta, so we know it's a feminine word. So that means we will be using, inshallah, we'll see an actual example, but I'm giving you the idea. We will be using this word to describe a female person. So if you're describing a girl or female person, then you will say Jamila, Jamilatun. But what's gonna happen when you have to describe a masculine person? Remember the techniques that we talk, inshallah, we'll be doing a lot more of this technique. We'll just drop the tamarbuta. So we'll have Jamilun. We'll do a lot more exercise of this thing. I'm just giving you this idea across in your mind right now, so that inshallah you're prepared. We'll just so see is the whole tamarbuta business is very interesting. We can add them, we can remove them, whatever we need. Now I'm looking at this little girl. I'm gonna say Jamila. Now, boom, another boy comes and he's upset. Why are you calling her Jamil? What's going on, Jamila? Then okay, fine. Now I have to say him. He's also beautiful. Then I have to say Jamilun. By the way, when we say Jamil for the boy, usually this one can be translated as a cute or handsome. Okay, handsome. We'll just translate according to our translation. Okay, it's not a big deal. The concept is same, right? Somebody that looks good. Jayed. And then we also talked about the body parts, and I give you a few examples. And udun, it would be your vocabs, is ear. Okay, udunun comes in the Quran. Mostly, I think udun come in the plural. Yad also comes in the Quran. Okay, hand and the nose. Oh, sorry, ear. And then we talked about some special words that's considered. So why not is feminine? Because it is special words. Okay, dar, shams, I give you all of these things. Okay, I didn't think I give you sama. What is sama? Sama is sky. So sama is also considered as feminine. And here's another word, nafsun. Nafs is a very interesting word. It means soul. It means soul, or it can means self. Mostly, you can think of soul for now. Then when it comes to other meaning, inshallah, I will explain to you. Soul, by the way, what does soul mean? Soul means yourself. Yourself is not a big deal. Okay, because nafs can be used. For example, if I say I'm doing nafsi, myself, you can you can use the nafs as a self or as a soul. Soul is yourself, right? Now, here comes some interesting things. You have Osama. What are you gonna do with Osama? Do you know anybody Osama whose name is Osama name given to a masculine person or feminine person? What do you think? Osama we give to the male person, male child, right? Osama. What about Hamza? Hamza is the name of a Sahaba radiallahu anhu. What do you deal with them? Now we have this beautiful tamar buddha sitting there. What happens? Remember what I said? Once you know this is a real person, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about anything. So we know there's a masculine, we is a masculine. So we will be treating as a masculine person. Okay, so this is what I mean, that not tamar buta always means feminine. And here's another example, that khalifa. So here, remember, I don't have, can somebody tell me, first tell me, what should I put here? Hmm? The fa. What haraka should go in the fa? I want you to understand this concept, because you think it's trivial, but it's not. Yes, it will get fatha. So now I have another question for you. When you look at this word, what are you going to put here? The tamarbuta. Hmm? What are you going to put here? Yes, you can put double tanwin or dhamma. Khalifatun. So this concept, inshallah, keep them in your mind. They will come in handy. Okay, and now here's the vocabs that I gave you. Let me just quickly go through them. Ukht, malaika is angels, right? Nar, sama, I think all of the imra'atun. See, imra'atun is woman, and also the word itself has damarbuta. Udun is ear. Okay, here's the al-akhira is the hereafter. What's hereafter has to do with masculine and feminine? Nothing other than the fact that it has damarbuta. So now we have to treat the word. We say this word is feminine. Okay, and then we have fitna, and you say fitna, which is a trial and test. May Allah protect all of us from the fitna. There's so many fitnas going around in the world. So as you can see, the fitna has tamarbuta. So what do we do with this word now? It's, which I say, it's a feminine word. Now, okay, darun. Alhamdulillah. Finally, we found one word that is not feminine, so it's masculine. Is it? Yes. That is masculine or feminine? It's feminine. There's no tamarbuta. Okay, maybe you're thinking, uh, maybe I would say house, home, house. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing. I think I misspelled it. Abode. Oh, no, I think it's fine. Yeah. So see, it goes into this category. Subhanallah, it's just jumping here and there, guys. Jumping here and there. Yeah. See, so these words, guys, just memorize it. Inshallah, it's not big deal. Number one, these words are super important, and when you memorize, think about these words are feminine. Just keep that in mind. You don't have to do this for any other words. When you memorize the other words, for example, bait, qalam, you don't have to think about masculine and feminine, because you understand masculine and feminine based on what? Based on it has tamarbut or not. But these words, when you memorize, make sure you keep that in your mind, that these are also feminine. Nar, dar, shams. Okay. Um, yes, Arab said so. That's how it is. Even that's what my Arab teacher says. The funny thing is, when my Arabic teachers who are Arabs, they say the Arab put it. When they talk about grammar, Subhanallah, they distance himself, the Arabs, from the Arabs who put it. By the way, they usually mean the original Arabs. So I find it so funny when the Arabs tells us that the Arabs put it. Anyway. Jay. So these words, when you memorize, make sure you memorize with this concept. So dar would be feminine, shams would be feminine, al ard would be feminine, ain is feminine. Okay, khalifa is masculine. Okay, yad is feminine. Sabil can be feminine and masculine. Okay, both ways. If you see somebody's using sabil as masculine, don't worry too much about that. It's both ways done. Nafs is feminine. Jahannam is feminine. See, mu'mina is believer, right? Maybe I should write believers anyway. uh, See, it has a ta marbuta, so it would be feminine believer. So how would we say masculine believer, guys? Just drop the ta marbuta, so we say mu'minun. Mu'minun. Okay. I didn't have enough time to get things, but let's look at this first and see what we can find from here. What is wa mean? What does it wa mean? And. Okay, so now question is, what kind of parts of speech is it? It is your harf. Good. I don't think we did this one. Now we will see something about this one, but the word here is the rob. The rob word is robun. The word rob is inside here. Inshallah, we'll study about them how. So we also studied rob, right? So this is God. Then we have a malaika. Did I give you malaika? Yeah, malaika. Why is keep on happening? I don't know. It's just my pages. Maybe it's not that good using Word. I should have converted into PDF first. The malaika, it's pretty interesting. I'll come back here. What do you think about malaika? Because the issue is malaika is angels, is a plural. What is the singular? Malak. So as you can see, malak is a masculine word. So when you have malaika, we get a tamarbuta. So what do you think this is going to be? I want you to think a little bit. If you don't think, if you always somebody's telling you, you will not thinking. So here's think about the question. The word malakun is angel, and its plural is malaika, but the plural has a tamarbuta. Okay, the singular is masculine, the plural is malaika, but now we have a tamarbuta. Now this tamarbuta is not falling under any of the things that you learned. So what do you think? This word is masculine or feminine? Okay, I have one answer. I want somebody else to think and tell me. If it's the same thing, you can say it, but yes, it is still the masculine word. And I'll give you an example, which you probably would be. Okay, so Ustad, some of you call me that. Subhanallah, I'm not even, I'm just a. So it is masculine teacher. But it's plural, if I'm not making a mistake. Asatiza. Look at this plural. This tamar, but it comes back. So now multiple male teachers becomes female? No, of course not. Okay, so because we're studying our whole topic is, guys, gender, so I'm giving you a lot of information. It might be overwhelming, and some of you have heard these things. It might be easy, but somebody who's studying if this is your first time you're understanding this thing, it might be overwhelming. I'm gonna tell you what you need to know right now, but I'm giving all these ideas, and then inshallah, before I wrap up, I'll tell you what you have to know. And because all of these ideas will come back. Okay, so remember, all of these ideas will come back, inshallah. So we have another word. So we have to look for, first of all, let's just think about it. We don't know we've never studied this word, but I want you to think about, is it a verb? Is it ismun, fi'lun, or harfun? Because I explained that thing in the last class. We don't know what it means. Let's just say we have no idea what it means. But I am looking at this word. Is it ismun, fi'lun, harfun? And why? If you think it is ismun because you don't know its meaning, how do you know it's ismun? Yes, tanwin. Good. Guys, if you forgot this thing, it is a very useful information. It might help you uh, sometimes. So when you say a word has a tanwin, there's only one exception in the Quran, but that's a different kind of tanwin. This is not this tanwin. That tanwin comes for a different reason. But if there's a tanwin, it is your noun. Okay, so we don't know what it is. It's noun. Now the question is, now that we know it's noun, we know the noun gives us 4 information. At least we understand one of them today. We're studying today's gender. So do you think this is masculine or feminine? Simple M or F? M. Okay, so you have to start thinking about this. You by default, you think M. Everything is M. It's noun M. If somebody says F, I need to ask why you're saying F. Okay, so fi is your what? We give you fi. Fi is what? It's a preposition, and we told you it means in, and it is your harf. We're not going to be talking, too much about which one is harf, which one is fail, because we'll always be inside one category anyway, right? For example, when you right now we're in ism, we'll always be in the ism, so we don't have to always ask that question. But in the beginning, I'm just trying to, you know, keep this idea in your mind. Okay, so the next word is al-ard. So this is a noun. Now the question is it a masculine or feminine? It is feminine because your special word. Okay, see, this thing you have to know that nobody knows. Even the Arab, they would not know unless they study this. There's no way of knowing it. You have to study this thing to find out that the earth is considered feminine. Now here's our another word, khalifa. This is so funny because look at this contrasting. This the word earth doesn't have ta marbuta, but you're saying it's feminine. But khalifa has ta marbuta, but this is your masculine. So I thought this verse would be very interesting. Okay, and this is from the Surah Baqarah. Uh, Now, so our time is up. I want to quickly just tell you what you have to know. Just think about what you have to know is that every noun has the gender. This is the first thing should be in your mind. Every noun has a gender, and that there are two types of gender: masculine and and mudhakkar, and masculine and feminine. Okay, so by default we think everything is masculine, and in order for something to be feminine we have to use some proofs, and the proofs are it's ending in tamarbuta. This is one of them. And the other ones, the body parts, is something that you have to know. Is everybody has to learn them. Body parts in pair, it has to be, make sure it has to be pair. Like nose is only one, so it's not considered as a feminine. Like ears, udun, yad, hands, okay, ain, eyes, these will be considered as feminine. And then we kind of have to memorize this set of words. And these are beautiful words, very important words. Just memorize them. You have to know them, their meanings. Just by looking at these words, you know that they come in the Quran. We always say, give zakat to fi sabilillah, right? We say give charity fi sabilillah, fi sabilillah, fi sabilillah. We always hear this, in the way of Allah, way of Allah. See, so these words are, they're all important. And also keep then in your mind that not all tamarbuta are feminine. Okay, just if you just understand this one, the tamarbuta is feminine, but not all of them, then inshallah you will be fine, because we'll be hitting this concept way too often, and inshallah before you know it, this is piece of cake.